Hello, fellow hams. This is Kilo Yankee 4, Romeo Delta Bravo, Roland Brown. Recording here. I'm going to demonstrate FT-8 for those who have not seen FT-8 work. Now, we're going to use a couple programs. My setup here at the house is I have a Yaesu FT-857D, an LDG AT100 Pro 2 auto tuner, and then I also have a SignalLink USB device. And then for my antenna that I'm running outside, I'm just running a homemade 40-meter dipole that I made some 80-meter coils that go on the end of it. And I've talked all over the United States and into Europe with no problems on that. And it's only at the center, probably about 25 foot high off the ground, and I've got it in a inverted V formation. So let's go ahead and let's look at the programs we're going to use. So I use the three programs we're going to use here are wsjt-x for the FT-8. I use MacLogger-DX. This does all my logging for me since my EQSLs. It automatically uploads to QRZ, EQSL, and Logbook of the World. We're going to use JT Bridge, and then we're also going to use TQSL from ARRL. That's what, with the certificate and verifies everything. The order that I like to start my stuff in is MacLogger-DX, which does cost money. It's not a free program. I believe it's around about $95. Now, it's a neat program. You can actually make it control your radio and everything, and it'll send all the information over. So if you're doing single sideband or phone or anything like that, it'll put all that information and populate it. It's kind of neat. You can do some lookups. And it'll pull the information. It'll pull the QRZ image, but it'll give you everything. So the next thing that we want to do is, after we've got MacBook Logger up, we're going to start wsjt-x. I don't know why that's so hard to say, but it is. And of course, I'm not going to go through the setup of setting your radio up and everything. I will tell you that for me, the one piece that I think that I will tell you is if you're using a SignalLink device, what I have found works best is to have the TX and RX in the 12 o'clock position on the dial and have the delay turned all the way down. So right off the bat, we're starting to see some information start flowing in here on wsjt-x. But I want to also get JT Bridge set up. Now, what JT Bridge does is it takes all this information, as you can see, and anything that's flowing over here will start showing up over here as well. So there you see I've got a AK1P, Paul A at -7 dB. He's calling in we're on 17 meters band. FT-8, I can see his CQ and his ITU region, what state he's from, and what grid square he's from. And also see if he participates in Logbook of the World or EQSL. If they're showing up green here, that's a station that I've already worked. This is non-CQ information down here. I'm going to move JT Bridge out of the way for just a minute. All right. Down here, so those of you who don't know what FT-8 is, it's a digital mode. It's very quick. There's no voice involved. It's the standard messages that you're getting. So what you do is, for instance, if I wanted to call CQ, I'd have this one here that I've got highlighted here, highlighted. I would hit Enable TX, and I would call CQ, and then somebody would answer that CQ by sending me this message 2 that's right here and telling me what my signal is and who they're coming from. So I'm going to do one in a minute, so don't get too tied up on that. Let me turn the volume up here on my radio so you can hear what FT-8 sounds like. It works in 15-second increments, sort of. Okay. We'll turn the volume back down. So now I could come over here and click on one of these green areas here where people's calling CQ, but I like to use JT Bridge, and I come over here. So here's somebody I've not worked. I'm gonna go ahead and tune up my radio real quick. Just bear with me. Make sure I'm tuned. Now, obviously, I don't have North Dakota, so I'm going to see if I can work that North Dakota station. So you saw me click on JT Bridge. Right here, it just showed up right here. That's going to be the next message I send. All right, now I am transmitting, and that's why this just showed up here in yellow. So I'm transmitting to him, and I'm transmitting my call and my grid square. Notice that this dot has now changed to right here. Now, if he's going to reply, I should get back a red message after this one goes through. Let's see what we get here. It's listening right now. Okay, so we didn't get a reply from him. Nobody else is working him, so I'm going to send the same thing again. It's all automated. If we don't get him, we'll try somebody different in a second. We'll go through another increment where it's waiting to see what happens. Okay, I don't think we're going to get him, so we'll let this cycle go through, and then we'll go back in and look for somebody else. Let's go try to get North Dakota because I need it for my work at all states. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Halt TX. I'm going to bring JT Bridge back up. I'm going to wait and see who comes in next. Okay, AK1P. Let's see if we can work that station. Now, thing about FT-8 is compared to like PSK31 and stuff, there's not a power limit, so you could run at 100 watts if you want to. Me, I'm running somewhere anywhere between 30 and 50 watts. I found that the signal just seems to be a little bit better when you come down and power some. So as you just saw, I transmitted the AK1. Okay, so see how this red one came right up here? So this is my activity over here. Over here on the whole band, I can see the whole band on the left-hand side, but you can also see the red one here. So what he transmitted back to me was my call, his call, and he told me he had me at a -2 dB. And I apologize. The one thing I will say about wsjt-x is the fonts are kind of small on it. So I'm transmitting back to him now that I got him at a R+1. He transmitted back to me that he sent me a Roger 73 message. And right now I'm transmitting back to him a 73 message. If you'll notice, if you go back and rewind, you'll notice that as we progress through, this little blue dot changed on the messages. Now, the reason I like not only wsjt-x and JT Bridge and MacLogger DX, but when I hit OK here in just a second, over here on the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see that it's going to go ahead and log that for me. And it just popped up and it showed that I logged that, the QSO with him. Then I'm going to open up my QSL, put my passcode in, TQSL rather. And now all that's been sent on up. So let's go over and down and look at MacLogger DX. So here's AK1P. That was Paul A. Massell, I guess is how it is, out of Rockingham, New Hampshire. And he's logged. He's here in my log. Frequency I worked him on, the bands, FT-8, his ITU region, what signal was sent, what signal was received. You see here it was uploaded to EQSL, and it pulls all that information over into my log. Now from MacBook Logger DX, or Mac Logger DX, sorry, I can check for confirmations. No new confirmations. I can check my Logbook of the World confirmations. See, I just got 2 in there. Just told me I had 2 in, and it just put them somewhere. I can also check my awards. Now, one thing I will say that I don't like about this is it's kind of, even though it uploads those to QRZ, it never checks QRZ again, I guess. So I've got some things on QRZ that are there that's not in this here showing it's confirmed. But as you can see, I've worked 44 out of 50 states, and 42 states have been confirmed. So it's really neat software. Let's go back and let's walk through another QSO here real quick with JT Bridge and everything running. So we're going to let this cycle go through. And right now I'm working on grid squares worked, counties worked, and other things. So all right, we're going to try to work W1 EME. So I'm transmitting. He just called CQ. Once again, see here in yellow, I'm transmitting his call, and my grid square. If he comes back to me, I should see a red bar pop up underneath that in just a second. Let's see here. We're going to transmit to him again. I saw he just called CQ again. FT-8 will also always run on upper sideband of the band. So that's another thing you all want to keep in mind. Oh, here we go. So he's just coming back to us. He's got us at a -7. Notice now that we're going to transmit to him that we are getting him at a 0-0. That's what we're doing right now. Here's our little 15-second increment window down here. Now, we'll either get a Roger, Roger, Roger from him, or we'll get a Roger, Roger 73 message in return. And we got a Roger, Roger, Roger. And so then we will transmit a 73. Pops up over here, ready for us to log. We hit OK. TQSL opens up. We put our password in for TQSL. And we come back to Mac Logger DX. And there is W1 EME, who is Fillmore H. Smith Jr. out of Hampton, Massachusetts. And we've got his grid square. It's showing up red, so that was a grid square we had not worked. I always like to just see if they're automatically uploading. Sometimes you'll get the EQSLs pretty quick. If it's Logbook of the World, those take a little bit longer. But whenever it goes out and checks, it'll turn them from red to green if you've got a confirmation. I've been doing FT-8 for roughly about a week and a half. And in that time, not really sure. Let me see if I can see how many. Let me get this sorted back by time. Let's see. Let's look and see if we got not a history. You can set your QSL up. You can do some memories if you want to. You can actually use this Mac Logger DX if you want to listen to shortwave and stuff on your HF radio. Let's see. Thought somewhere it told me how many I had worked, how many stations I had worked, but I may be wrong on that. But it's pretty neat. So I encourage you to go out and try everything that I downloaded besides Mac Logger DX for my Mac to work FT-8 is free. wsjt-x is free. JT Bridge is free. And it's a neat little mode. And like I said, about 45 seconds to a minute, you can make contacts all over the place. Last thing I want to show you, if you want to ensure that you're getting out and people are hearing you, I'm going to do one more contact while I'm doing this. Well, let's see. Looks like people I've already worked. So if you've already worked them, they're going to show up green in JT Bridge. so you know you don't need them again. Like they're looking for Jamaica. You look in this area column, so you don't want to. If you don't want to hop on somebody that's already looking for something, if you've worked them but they've not confirmed yet, they'll kind of go to this kind of maroonish color. They're unworked. They're going to show up red. You can switch bands right here. So if I want to go to the 20-meter band, my radio is going to switch if I'm running it through cat control. I always like to, anytime I switch the band, I like to go ahead and do a full tuning cycle. You can hear my tuner running in the background. And let's just do one more. Let's see if we can get one more contact in here. Let's just, we're going to let this little timer right here go for 15 seconds. It's very important that you make sure that your computer clock time is correct, because this does require that everybody be synced up time-wise. And on okay, I'm going to try to work this Canadian station. There's instructions on how to check that when you download wsjt-x. But after this, if we work this station, then I'm going to show you how to check where you can see where all your signals being heard using the internet. So let's see if we're going to work this station here. I'm going to shut JT Bridge out of my way, just move it down. So here you see in the yellow, I transmitted to his call, my call. Here we go. Went to red. So I got his message back. I'm now transmitting a received signal back to him. Notice that this little message down here, the little dot, has changed again. And then we're listening for him. I'm going to give you the sound again. Okay, I've not got anything back from him that time. Didn't get anything back, so I'm going to retransmit what I received from him again. You've got a little signal meter down here, so you see we're getting pretty good signal. There comes Roger, Roger, Roger. I'm sending him a 73 back. Popped up, wsjt-x pops up for me to put my log in. I hit OK. TQSL opens up. I put my password in. It's logged. We go back just to make sure, look at Mac Logger, and there we are. We just had a contact with Jim Morris in Canada. Like I said, I always like to check in time and see if I've got any QSLs or if I have any logbook of the worlds. Oh, there you go. See AK1P that we worked at the start of the video. Oops, let me turn that volume down. Sorry. So AK1P had uploaded our QSL information, our QSO information to Logbook of the World. When it confirmed, you notice he went from red to green here. All right. Now, if you want to know if your signal's truly getting out, I'm going to open up the internet. And I use a site called PSK Reporter. And you want to display reception reports. And you just come up here across the top. You can select the band, signals, sent and received by, the call sign. I've put mine in, so it's going to auto-populate Kilo Yankee 4 Romeo Delta Bravo. I was working earlier. We were working 17 meters. And you can set the time that you want to see from anywhere from 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. But I want to see for the last hour. Now, before I hit go, all these little green dots here, these were stations that were listening on 30 meters. So I'm going to hit go here, and it's going to switch to 17 meters. And now you're going to notice the little dots change, but I want to zoom in on the United States. Get a little closer. And it'll show you the last time that they heard, that you heard, or they heard. It shows the gray line where it's night and day dark. So this is everywhere that my signal was going, what time we were working there a while ago. Obviously, as it gets later in the night, my signal is going to start showing up over here in Europe. So that was when we was working 17 meters. Let's just look at 40 meter or 20 meters, sorry, that we worked a second ago. And let's see where all it shows. So there's a lot more stations listening on 20 meters. Only the ones that have times above them are the ones that you've either heard or they've heard you. And if you mouse over one, if you see down here in the lower corner, it's going to say that it's from by, so AE5X heard me on 14074.654 at a -10. We didn't necessarily work each other, but it is working. Now, the longest QSO that I have ever made is I worked down into somewhere down in here in Argentina. And I think I worked it with about 30, 35 watts. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me. I'll walk you through one more QSO. So let's see what we've got going here on JT Bridge. I'm going to just come up and clear my table. I'm going to come over, right click, and erase the band activity. I also want to erase this one here. Okay, KLOMP in Virginia. You notice there also, if they've got their islands on the air selected, it's going to show you. It also shows you the distance, the bearing if you're using a rotor or anything. So let's see if we can get him. So I transmitted to Kilo Lima 0 Michael Paul and transmitted there. He didn't hear me evidently the first time. So he called CQ again. So I'm sending to him again. And the setup on this stuff is actually pretty easy. There's nothing overly complicated about getting this going other than making sure you got your signal link stuff set up correctly. Apparently he's not hearing me. So let's look and see if we've got anybody else here. We'll let this transmission go through, and then once it stops, we're going to hit halt TX. Give it just a second. If you've got an ICOM or something like that, you're controlling by a CAT cable, you can probably use this tune button. It doesn't work too well with my Yaesu FT-857D. I'm going to see if I can get this station here in Texas. Let's see what we get this time. So let's Kilo Delta 5 Victor Juliet. Let's see if we pick him up. Nope, somebody else got him. So you'll notice my enabled TX went off. And then here in my activity window, I see that instead Alpha Charlie 8 Tango Echo started working him. So that is FT-8 in a nutshell. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit me with a comment. I'm going to try to work November Delta 0K here now. We'll see if this one goes through. If it does, then I will end the video. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. You don't need to see if I got it. You should know by now what you're looking for. Got any questions? Send me an email. Put a comment on the video. Thanks.